Hey there, gorgeous. Welcome to part 2 of how to get dewy skin underneath makeup when you have dry skin, texture, and pores. So, I know we all hate the word pores and texture, and we live in a world where everything's been photoshopped to death so people don't show what real skin actually looks like. Well, no worries. I'm gonna show you. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Makiage Primer, and it's called the No Face Poreless Primer. Just gonna put a little bit, I'm gonna concentrate it where I have the most pores, which is pretty much my T-zone. And I have bags for days because I barely sleep, but that's okay. That's why I have makeup. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna prime my eyelids, and I do this with my MAC paint pot in Soft Ochre, because since I'm very fair, you can't tell right now because I actually have a tan. Yeah, this is my tan. I'm pretty fair usually. So I'm gonna take a little bit, just put it on my eyelids. So this is gonna be a quick look. It's not gonna be like a full glam. But this is basically just so you can see a nice everyday kind of look. I'm gonna probably go for something bronzy. Keep it just pretty simple. So now that I've primed my eyes, my eyelids and my face, I'm actually going to prime my under eyes. And I love this under eye primer, which you can see I use it so much, by Becca. And what it helps is because I do have a little bit of dryness and a little bit of texture under my eyes, it kind of helps with the concealer not getting into all my lines. Next thing I'm going to do is I have here a new goodie that I just received from Makiage, and it's called the Color Boss Squad, the Multidimensional Eye Color Quad in the Real Deal number 990. So let's take a look at these colors. And of course, my fingers are slippery, so bear with me for a second. Lot of mercy. And actually, ooh, I love these colors, these super pretty bronze colors. So let's play. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my amazing brushes. I really am in love with the Jaclyn Hill brushes by Morphe for my personal everyday use. I'm about to get another one for my client kit, but for today I'm gonna show you. So I'm going to take actually a very small brush like this, and I'm actually going to work on my crease. So I'm gonna start by priming my lid first with a neutral color, because that's always helpful. So I'm actually going to take this Becca eyeshadow palette in nudes, and it's a nice matte nude. So I'm gonna take this fluffy brush and just kind of set that powder, set that base with this powder. Why I can't even speak today, I don't know what's my problem. Then I'm gonna go in with my tiny little pencil brush. Sorry, I have like allergies today. And I'm gonna go in with this dark shade here, which I'm guessing is called No BS. Pretty appropriate. And I'm pretty much just gonna start with the outer corner and really just concentrate it in my crease. If you notice, I don't close my eye. I always do it with my eye open, because it just helps me really see where my crease is and where I'm gonna do the blending. Again, this is supposed to be a really quick look, so I'm not too concerned with all the blending and contouring techniques, even though I am gonna do a little bit of that, but I'm not gonna get too involved in it. In a later video, I'll show like a full on glam. So I like to sweep a little bit under my eye to kind of connect that outer shape. And I do like to extend it a little bit out just to create just a more elongated shape. And if you notice, I'm just using really soft strokes just to really work it in. Also note that I'm doing eyes first instead of foundation, because it's always easy to clean up any fallout if you don't have any foundation on. So I'm just pretty much just working this in. I don't want it too dark, only because this is like an everyday look. So I'm gonna do the same, repeat it on the other eye. And I like to start kind of with the bottom and work my way into the crease and kind of connect that there. So you see how like my eyes are starting to elongate, and then really just work it in that inner corner, in that outer corner. Sorry, I cannot speak today. What is up with me? I really need to get it together. Okay, so again, so you see how that color is really building, and then I'm gonna buff it out in just a little bit, just to soften any edges. I like to bring it in, kind of like just really start to blend it into the lid a little bit. Then I'm going to take another fluffy brush, just something nice, and just really use it to buff out any harsh edges and just really create a more softer look. You see that? So just really softly. You don't have to put too much pressure. You want to let the bristles do the blending for you. That way those harsh edges can kind of melt into the skin, if that makes sense. So I like to do these little windshield wiper motions. So you see how it's like blended out. Sorry, itchy. Then I'm gonna go in, I'm not sure which color. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of that color to create a little bit of a transition, just really quickly. I'm not gonna spend too much time doing that, but I'm gonna take another brush, something a little bit fluffy, to kind of create that base. I'm gonna use a little bit on the lid, but I'm also gonna use it to kind of create that transition. See? Kind of just helps transition everything, warms it up a little bit so it's not so taupey, because then I kind of look dead there. So you can choose to leave it matte. I personally like shimmers because my favorite color is glitter. So I'm gonna go in with a little bit of a shimmer, and I'm going to choose, let's see, a nice brush. That's what happens when you have 10,000 brushes. Now I'm going to, here we go. Excuse me while I get it together. I'm gonna use this Fenty brush, and I'm gonna use that kind of champagne-y goldy color, and I'm gonna press it right on the lid. So I'm pressing. You notice that I'm not swiping because I don't want too much fallout, and I really want that pigment to really stick. So I'm gonna go in here at the other eye, and again, this is just a really quick routine, not a 2-hour routine, but just like if you need to go somewhere, you need to really dress it up, keep it simple, there you go. But this is a new product, so I'm just testing it out. So sorry if I'm using you guys as my guinea pig. Sorry, not sorry. So now I'm gonna go in with that same fluffy brush that I had for my crease, and just kind of, with a little tiny bit of product, just a tiny bit, just kind of work it all in there and kind of connect those shades. So again, I want to keep it pretty light. I don't want it too dark. And just kind of brush it out. So, sorry guys. And I'm going to use a little bit of, I want to use a brown eyeliner. Let's see. see here what I got here. If I could see with these lights, that would be great. And here we go. Let's see what I got in here. Note to self, pull out eyeliner ahead of time, because then when you're looking for it, you can't find it. That always happens to me, and I never learned my lesson. Not a mercy. Ah, here we go. My favorite eyeliner, which is actually the MAC Costa Riche, and I'm basically just going to line my top lid. Since I don't want a harsh black line, I'm just gonna line the top of my lid, the lash line. I don't have to really go perfect with it because I am gonna smudge it out to kind of make it just melt into the rest of the shadow, because I don't want it to be a harsh line. And then I'm gonna drag it right on that bottom lash line and into the waterline. I'm also gonna go above the waterline, underneath the eye, the top lid. This actually helps make your lashes look fuller and darker. And then I'm really just gonna work that product in there. I'm gonna take that small brush again, and I'm actually gonna use it to smudge out this liner slightly. So it gives it a nice more subtle, smoky chocolate look. Because I mean, who doesn't like chocolate, right? So you see? Can you see the difference? Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna do the same, repeat the step on this eye. I have a habit of always doing my eyeliner with my eye mostly open, because it actually helps me see the natural shape of my eye. Especially as we age, our eyes tend to get, you know, a little bit more folds in it. It starts to become a little bit more hooded. So you definitely want to take it into consideration, your age and the way that your eyes look. And then I'm going to drag it again right on that bottom lash line and into the waterline, because I like having a nice dark waterline. And my bad, I didn't realize I was giving you guys the finger. Wasn't my intention. But, and then I'm gonna take that same brush and really just smoke it out and blend it out. Here, I like to kind of stretch it a little bit so I can get a more precision. And I'm using this little pencil brush because I really want it to just be a much softer, smoky eye look. And don't worry if you feel like you've gotten too much under your eye. I'm going to show you a really cool way of cleaning it up really quickly once I've done mascara and all that. So this is pretty much the most I'm going to do with my eyes. I'm going to go in with a little bit of my eyelash curler. I'm not going to do fake lashes because, actually, hold on. I want to drag the color in just a little bit to match a little bit better. So there's more symmetry. Yes, okay. So now I'm going to go in with my eyelash curler. Really just get a nice curl, because I have super straight lashes, but I tend to do a lash lift. And I'm pretty much due for one, but ain't nobody got time right now, so bear with me. So I like to give it a couple of squeezes. I'll go back, give it a couple of more squeezes, go back, give it a couple of more squeezes. Then I like to use a nice lash primer. I like the one by Lancôme, believe it or not. Didn't think I would, but I really love this lash primer. And what I do is I pretty much kind of zigzag it, make sure I really get the tips of my lashes, and this will actually just create more thickness and more volume. And I do it on my bottom as well because I have really long bottom lashes, but they tend to be, my lashes are actually light because my hair, even though you can't tell, is actually like a dirty blonde, light brown, and my lashes are as well. So it's a little hard to see. That's why I like doing lash lifts and lash tints, because it just helps make my lashes look bomb. So I really just work in the product, wiggle the brush. I like to wiggle brushes so that it avoids too much clumping. Just kind of go over the other side and just really help get that coated. That looks interesting. Next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull out this Estée Lauder Sumptuous Extreme Lash Mascara. I really love this thing. It actually is, I love the formula. At least for me, it really coats really well, and it really just gives a lot of lift and volume to my lashes. So you see? See how nice and doe-eyed my eyes look now? On a daily basis, I don't wear false lashes. I only tend to wear false lashes if I'm going to an event or there's something special I'm doing, only because, I don't know, I'm lazy. Maybe it's because I do it all the time on people, so when it comes to me, I'm like, the easier the makeup, the better. And I don't worry too much about little smudges here and there because, again, there's no foundation on my face, and that's easy to clean up. A little tip, if you do end up getting a little bit of mascara, don't smudge it, let it dry, and then you can flick it right off, and it doesn't smudge the rest of your makeup. So if you ever end up getting a little bit of mascara on your eyelid, don't freak out, just let it completely dry, and then you can actually just kind of flick it right off. So because some of my lash lift is starting to go away, I have to really coat these lashes to get that full volume, because again, I have super straight lashes. That's all I'm gonna do with my eyes right now. So next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of my Il Makiage in Woke Up Like This number 035. It's basically like a light neutrally color. I'm gonna put a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit, and then I'm gonna take the blending brush that they sell for it, which I really like for foundation. I don't know why. I personally, on myself, I like foundation brushes a lot more than beauty blenders, but that's just my personal preference. You do whatever makes you happy and whatever works for you. This just happens to work really well for me. And I'm going to grab that brush in just a minute, which I'm not really sure what happened to it. Well, oh, here it is. Got it. All right. So I'm going to use this brush, and I'm going to buff out the foundation. So as you can see, my skin has already absorbed my skincare, but it still leaves a really nice dewiness. And I also used just very little product. It's just really how you buff it. And then the areas that you have blemishes or any other things, you want to go in there with your concealer. All right. So next step I'm going to do is I'm going to take the matching concealer from Il Makiage, and this is the Effort on Flawless Multi-Use Perfecting Concealer in the color 2.5, and I'm just gonna pretty much just add where I need it. So kind of just to create that lifting, because I like, and kind of just a little bit on my sides of my nose, the bridge of my nose, and just right here where I have a tiny little blemish that belongs to Satan, and right there. So what I like to do is with the foundation brush, I'm going to stipple where the blemish is to kind of help conceal that. You notice how I'm not rubbing, I'm literally just stippling it. And do the same right here so that the blemish goes away, but the makeup looks flawless. And what I'm going to use, I love, I got this from Ipsy one time, and it's a Vasanti concealer buffer. I love this thing. So I'm gonna go in and just really kind of buff out that concealer. And since I didn't really have fallout, I didn't really need to clean up much, but you see how now I'm able to like really sculpt it, really get a little bit of brightness. And really diminish a lot of that redness that I was seeing earlier. And I'm just gonna go in and again, same technique, really buff it in. See, really beautiful radiant skin. So my eyes are pretty much done. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tame these brows because these are my natural brows. So I'm going to use this Florence by Mills brow gel, which I'm actually really in love with. It really gives you great control and sculpt. So I like a very natural looking brow, hence why I don't do tons of contouring and stuff around it, especially because I have very thick natural brows, so I don't really need a lot of product. All I really do is basically just brush them and add just a little bit on the tail end, because I do have short brows, but they're super thick, to color them in. So now that I have that, actually, let me go back a little bit here and kind of work out the little sparseness right there. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my MAC Spiked Shape and Shade Brow Tint. I like using the pen side and just kind of like flicking it through. Just to kind of fill where there's sparseness and just really create a soft, natural looking brow, because I really don't like brows that look like they've been Sharpied in. It is the bane of my existence. So I'm gonna do the same on this side. Just really fill in where I have a lot of sparseness. So you kind of create that nice little tail. And don't worry if you don't get it right. You can always sculpt it with your hand. Again, I personally don't like a brow that's too heavy because I already have brows like Frida Kahlo, so I personally don't need it. But if you do have sparse brows, definitely recommend using something maybe a little thicker, like a powder, things like that. I'm gonna use the spoolie, just spoolie with nothing on it, just to really just blend out the color so it doesn't look harsh and it looks blended. And I kind of like that feathery look. I'm all for it. So that's my brows. So now I'm gonna go in with my contour, and I'm actually going to use one by Charlotte Tilbury, which is my absolute fave. And it's the, hold on a second, I'm like dropping stuff everywhere because this light is blinding me so much, your girl can't see. Oh, but before I do that, I'm going to set my under eye. I love this Becca Under Eye Brightening. It actually just helps really give that under eye a nice bright look. I'm just gonna go in with a nice fluffy brush, tap off the excess, and just really apply that under the eye. And this will actually help your concealer stay in place and not shift. This is great for light to medium skin tones. If you tend to be of a more darker skin tone, you definitely want to use a setting powder that has a bit of yellow, like a banana powder. Those are always excellent. So now I'm going to go in with my contour. Here we go. And it's actually the Filmstar Bronze and Glow. I know this is 20 minutes, but because I'm teaching it to you, that's why it's taking longer. But if you were doing it yourself, it usually takes 20 minutes. I like to take a small brush. This one is by Japanesque. And I'm going to just really go, just really contour, especially because I have a huge forehead. I mean, it's a fiver, seriously. I don't have regular dreams. I dream movies. Look at this forehead. It's out of control. So the way I can help kind of diminish how big this monster is by just really putting a lot of contour and color into there to trick the eye into believing that my forehead is smaller. So I'm really just, so I have a pretty sculpted face as it is. So I'm just gonna go underneath my jawline with whatever's left over and just really drag it down. So it gives me a much more lifted look. And I'm not putting any more product, but now I'm gonna go in with just a little bit more to really work and blend into the skin. Last step I'm going to do with this is I'm going to go in with a smaller brush. It can be pretty much any small detailing brush. I'm gonna use this one from the Jaclyn Hill collection, and this is what I'm going to use to snatch my nose. So I'm gonna go from that brow bone down the side of my nose. I'm not gonna go too dark because again, I'm pretty fair, so it'll look like my face is dirty. Ain't nobody trying to look dirty. So I like to really just connect that shadow. And then with that same concealer brush, I'll kind of go in and snatch the sides a little bit. And just really add that brightness. Ooh. That's not just looking nice. And then I'm gonna go in with the highlight. I want a very subtle highlight, so I'm gonna take this little tapered brush and I'm just gonna do it on the points, my high points. I don't want to put too much on my forehead because I already have a huge forehead and I'm not trying to draw more attention. A little bit on my chin, my Cupid's bow. Ooh, look at that. Then I'm gonna actually take that small pencil brush again. I'm gonna clean it off of the dirt. And I'm gonna use that same small pencil brush with the highlight. And I'm gonna add the highlight to that inner corner just to create a little bit of light. Just a small, very small detail brush so you avoid too much fallout. I'm also gonna take a little bit of that and probably just put it on my brow bone. You can even use the same little detail brush actually. If you really want it to press into the skin, you can, I always do. But you see how just with a little bit of foundation and concealer that my face, the redness has already like gone down. I'm gonna take this clean buffing brush and just really buff out the edges of that contour so it doesn't look harsh. And here as well. And just to add a little bit of color, but on a muted level, I'm going to use the Patrick Ta blush in She's Seductive. It's one of my favorites. And I'm gonna add that to the apples of my cheeks and just blend it into my contour. So I'm gonna take a cheek brush with this color and just because I tend to get red, just very little into my contour. See, just a little bit of color and melt it right into that contour. Ooh, I like. And last but not least, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of a lip color. I'm not sure which one to do. Maybe I want something a little bit on the browner side since we're going bronzy. So I'm going to use this. I want something very subtle. I don't want nothing too sculpted. It's called Dream Girl in the New Nudes by Marc Jacobs. And it's kind of like a nice brown that has a little bit of a pink undertone, which I really, really like. And it's really creamy. So and last but not least, I'm gonna go in with a setting spray because I want to keep it dewy, and I'm going to use the, let's see here what I have. Oh, if I could see, that would be nice, but I'm blinded by these lights. But I do have a setting spray that I want to use to keep everything nice and fresh, and it's actually by Charlotte Tilbury as well. It's called the Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. I love it. And then take my quick fan, put it on high mode so it could really just dry up. I know I'm a character. And there you have it. Pretty much this is the finished look. It's soft, it's very natural, it's really pretty, it's super quick to do. You can actually get this routine down in under 20 minutes. And that's it. Stay tuned for the next video. And again, if you have any tutorials that you want to see, anything at all, comment down below and I'll look through it and kind of go through what everyone wants and create the next tutorial. Maybe I'll do a glam look, maybe I'll do a bridal look, who knows. Just stay tuned and I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye, gorgeous.